Okay, so now we're talking about threading. Remember that I said that a thread is basically threads of execution that run within processes. They're also known as lightweight processes, all right? So now, in many cases, we want to have some level of concurrency. In this particular chapter, they are going to discuss the APIs for pthreads, Win32, which is, okay, uh, I think Windows is 64-bit now, but whatever. And then also the Java thread libraries. Now, if you're wondering about the Java thread libraries, I believe you can still find them in java.io.thread. All right. So if I were looking through the Java docs, if you remember, the Java tutorial itself has uh, multi-threading as a chapter in case that's what interests you. Java concurrency. Okay. But some of this has actually been, or it should have been updated, given the fact that Java SE has changed quite a bit. So this is in java.util. Okay. This they're saying that this is for Java 8. Let me just take a look at what happened in other cases. That way I can actually refer you to the right documentation. All right. So I'm just going to come up here to Java SE. All right. And now that I'm here at Java SE, the tutorials are in here along with the other documentations. And some of this may have changed since I first started, um, since I first started writing my own stuff, right, for my classes. So let me just make sure that what we have here is indeed the latest and greatest. And Java tutorials is where you want to be to see the latest when it comes to what Java has to offer and how to program there. All right. Now, let's see the tutorial part. For the tutorial, we want to take a look at most likely learning the Java language. And this part may be a little too, that may be a little too, just a little too basic. Tutorial essentials and concurrency. So let me just see what the essentials are right here. And then here we go, essential Java classes. Okay. And in here, let's just look for concurrency. And this is for Java 24 now. Okay. As opposed to what I would have had elsewhere. So there were some changes made. Like they have new interfaces and classes since say Java 20 or 21, right? But a lot of things stay the same. Uh, I told you yesterday about thread objects, thread class, the thread class, and the runnable interface. For the most part, that has, not changed tremendously. Okay. Here they have processes, like I told you that they would have. They also have a process builder object. Now, a builder is a another design pattern, and what it means is that it is used to actually create objects piecewise. So even if you have a constructor, the constructor may not fill out all the details, but the builder design pattern adds in the details later on. So you can create processes in the Java VM. Okay. In this particular case, they have a case in which they use a process builder, a command arg, and also two arguments. And they also have an environment that they create, and that's similar to the operating system environment that we are used to when we create um, or when we actually use our shell or terminal. Down here, you have a process that's been instantiated. They call it the process builder, and they use start. Now that should remind you of what we did yesterday when I told you about threads and how you can use the start to call the run function, right? So in that particular case, that's what you would have there, something similar. If I go into the threads component for multi-threading, let me just click on this guy right here. All right. There's a couple of ways that we get threads started. Okay. And here is one of the two. And this right here is a working model. So if I were to put it into like IntelliJ or Eclipse, it would work pretty much out the box, right? So I could actually do an example. And for that example, I'm just going to do a different screen share. I'll share my entire desktop. So now you can see IntelliJ, I have that here. I'll start a new project. And it's just going to be OS concurrent. All right, and this is IntelliJ. And I am going to move forward. Okay. And I'm going to come down here. I'm going to create a new Java class. Okay. And I'm going to create the class that I will call, I guess I'll call it hello thread since they called theirs hello thread. Okay. So let's do the whole hello thread thing together. Okay. So now I have that there. And this guy here, however, let me just import my packages. So I need to import java.util. And I'm just going to use a wildcard so I can import a bunch of things. Okay. Also, what I wanted to do, what I should have done, should have created a package to put things in. So let's see. And I'm going to call this concurrency, right? And that's going to be my package name. Then I'm going to take my actual class. I'm going to throw it in here. They're going to refactor it for me. Now you see the package declaration up there. I think they took my import statement out, so I have to put it back in. So I'm going to import java.util. Okay, and as you can see here, the thread part, the thread class should be in here. They were usually in alphabetical order. Um, so thread would be, that's interesting. Let me just see, TH. No, it's not there. Let me just then go back and see where they did put it. So this is in, there's another way of doing this, by the way. I'll just use the thread Java doc. And this would be found in, oh, java.language. Okay, fine, java.lang, I won't argue. We'll import that as well. Actually, I shouldn't. I may not have to. I may not have to. Let's just see. Extend thread. Oh, okay. So I don't have to put it in. Great. Reason why I said that is because I believe that's also where they have defined things like string and integer. So, those things are up for grabs without you having to do much else. Okay. Now, I'm gonna also make a separate class. So I'm gonna start a second one. And this one is going to be corresponding to what they had in the second program. So if you remember the second program, it looked like this. It had a runnable. So I'm going to do the hello runnable now. Okay. New class like that. Okay. And then I'm going to say implements runnable. Okay. And I am also going to put this in the same package and refactor. Now, in this particular case, let's see what else are they complaining about. No usages. That's okay. But let me just take a look at the errors. Gotcha. So here's what they're complaining about. I didn't implement the run part. Okay, so I'm gonna put in run. Okay, and it should actually be public run, but whatever. And put in void as well. Okay, so here we are, good to go now. Right, so here you have public void run, and they're like hello from a thread. They did the same thing in the public void run from down here. Right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to copy and paste them. This is going to go into my hello thread. Okay, and something similar over here. Okay, this is also well, it's almost the same, but you'll notice that here they instantiated a thread and a runnable at the same time. So this guy instantiates first, then gets passed in as a as we call this constructor, he gets also passed in as an argument to the constructor for uh, the thread constructor, right? And then after that, this new anonymous thread, they're going to call start. So now here's what you're looking at. If you really want to know, it's going to be a constructor. Let me just take a look at these constructors. There we go. Here's what they're using. This particular constructor right there, okay, with the runnable. And so that's how it works, right? You have a runnable thrown in, and it for its own part, this thread once created will then run the runnables run method. So that's why it looks the way that it looks. Now, me personally, I like to actually set up a um, I like to set up my own programs to have objects that hold them. So I would prefer to actually, given that this is thread, to say thread th1 equals, and then let's see, new hello thread. And then I'm going to take this guy out. I'm going to take this guy out. And I'm going to come right down one more line. I'm just going to say th1 start, like that. All right. And that's a replacement for the whole thing that you had up front, the thread.start. And let's see, do I need to introduce a new? No, I don't need to introduce anything there. That's not a real problem. So now here we have string args, all right? And there's no issue. There shouldn't be an issue there. They probably just want it differently. They want it the way that the new one works. There you go. Less complaints. And an unused import statement, we're good to go. But now let's take a look at the runnable again. The runnable component. This guy right up here, hello runnable. So we'll just pull this out, copy it, uh, and we'll put it right here in our runnable class, just as so. And I also want to do the same thing with th1 over here as well. All right. So this was the thread that they called the second time around. Here they're saying new thread. Here you have hello thread dot start. That part is somewhat easy. But for this part here, you have to do things just a little bit differently. All right. So this was the new hello thread. And now this will be my thread runnable. All right. So thread thr1 equals this new thread part right here. Then I'm going to take that out, put a semicolon there, drop down one. And I think I have one too many parentheses. Now that I've dropped down one, I'm going to then say thr1 dot start. And that will be the equivalent there. Okay. So now let's see. I'm going to run them both. But the reason why I did them over is that just in case I'm going to run more than one thread, we can actually see that together. So here's what happens. I'm just going to run hello thread. Okay, and here we have hello from a thread, but you'll notice that it took place within the thread, not within a normal main program. So that's the hello world with a thread in it after the thread was instantiated. Doing it from the runnable, I'm gonna take some questions soon. Doing it from the runnable would look as follows. Hello runnable, I hit play, and you have roughly the same thing, or exactly the same thing. But we did it through two different methods, okay? So let me just pause right here and see what we have in the way of questions.